Tonight on Tech Today, the future of digital learning in Australian universities. Sports science, how far has it come? And streaming services, are they causing more harm than good? Plus, advances in 3D printing, turning old milk lids into new prosthetics.
I'm Nadia Maru.
And I'm Ashley O'Mahony, and thank you for joining us on Tech Today.
3D printing has dramatically impacted the health industry, making the impossible seem possible. Technology has seen milk lids being repurposed into prosthetic limbs for children. We spoke with industry professionals to see how viable 3D printed prosthetics really are.
For centuries, milk has helped build strong and healthy bones. Now, the lids that keep it fresh are playing a fundamental role in the development of 3D printed prosthetics. The question on the minds of many is whether a prosthesis made from a cheap plastic can provide the same functional ability as one developed from a qualified professional. With over 25 years' experience, Lynn Weir has been at the forefront as the development of prosthetic limbs has evolved. After a stint at Melbourne's Alfred Hospital, Weir, along with partner Noel Mitchell, now own and operate Northern Victorian Orthotic Prosthetic Service in Shepparton and Wangaratta.
Well, my partner and I are orthotist prosthetists. We assess people for body braces, which is orthotics, and for prostheses. Then we design and make and then fit the orthosis or prosthesis.
NVOPS has embraced the technological advances the industry has seen over the past decade. Until recently, plaster moulds of an amputee had to be taken in order to develop a prosthetic limb that would fit comfortably. That process has since been scrapped as NVOPS now scan the limb in order to achieve a precise fit and optimal comfort for its clients. Weir is concerned that prosthetics developed in alternate ways may not provide the same level of support.
It's a bit offensive to think that you can print something in your garage that will provide the level of function that we've had years of training to be able to do. And I mean, I've been a prosthetist for a long time, but I would say I'm certainly not an upper limb prosthetic expert. It's a highly specialised area to actually get true function.
However, Dr. Robert Ross of La Trobe University is confident that with the help of industry professionals, a 3D printer can produce an effective prosthesis for an amputee.
It really depends on who designs it. So if a person that had 25 years experience was the person that actually designed the 3D printed prosthetic, absolutely, and you can get something to the form and fit and requirements that you need. Designing something very specific to meet a specific need, it's a field that 3D printing adapts really, really well for.
A major advantage of 3D printing plastics is that it is a cheap alternative to that of a professionally made prosthetic limb, as they can be upward of tens of thousands of dollars. However, Weir says that there is no need to go cheap, as amputees can access a prosthesis for free in Australia.
There's a talk in the media that they're free, so they're providing for free. That's altruistic. That's lovely, but prostheses are actually provided free in Australia. Anyone who needs a prosthesis will be provided a prosthesis free. So to say that kids are not able to access those things is not true.
3D printing has had a major impact across a variety of industries in recent years, and it may well be a matter of time before it replaces traditional methods of manufacturing within the health industry. Whether it can achieve the same level of function for an amputee, however, remains to be seen. Joe Wilkie reporting for Tech Today.
I think we're going to see some really great stuff coming from the 3D printing industry in the future.
And I'm really interested to see what that's going to mean for our everyday lives.
Yeah, definitely. Next up is the advancement of technology really benefiting the way we learn.
We've seen the rapid growth of technology within the last decade, and over time, the education system has adapted and changed how students and teachers interact with the learning and teaching environment. I'm a La Trobe student, and all I really have to do is look around campus and I'll easily find technology that has been implemented for our benefit. But who are the people in charge of implementing new technologies to enhance our learning experience at La Trobe? La Trobe University has a team of people called La Trobe Teaching and Learning, or LTLT for short. They provide support for staff and students by continuously improving technology-enhanced learning and teaching. I spoke with Victor Reynolds, a representative from LTLT, about the benefits of technology and what are some of the challenges that they face when implementing technology in an educational context.
So some of the main benefits that have been around for a while that we are always continually improving on are solving the problem of distance. So now it's not, students don't need to be on campus to learn anymore. And we've had this for some time now in higher education with online learning.
As Victor stated, technology is solving the problem of distance with online learning. One of La Trobe's staple technology that supports this is the LMS.
One of the bread and butter, if you like, one of the main technologies that we use is the LMS. As most students here, like yourself, would know that the LMS we use is Moodle. And there are other technologies that we use to enhance that. The main problem I think that this solves for students is it provides a more flexible education for them and to accommodate flexible lifestyles.
Daniel Sim for Tech Today.
Tech is playing a huge part in education, but also in sport. In our next story, the Victorian Institute of Sport is using technology to prepare our athletes for Olympic gold.
The Victorian Institute of Sport is at the forefront of technology, preparing for the 2020 Tokyo Olympic Games, with the introduction of the brand new heat chamber, among other technological advancements. 2020 will mark 30 years since the Institute first opened, and a man who has been there since the very start is Australian awesome foursome rowing head coach Noel Donaldson. The rowing great says that technology has come a long way since he first walked through the doors in the early 1990s.
I'm not certain what the brand of the pen was. And I think it was lined A4 paper, but it was pen and paper in the early days. So the principles were the same. The computer drives a lot of your preparation and a lot of the appearance of what you actually do.
The Tokyo 2020 Olympics is set to reach sweltering temperatures of upwards of 30 degrees, with high humidity expected to add to the athletes' and audiences' discomfort. But now with the advancing technologies, the VIS are far better prepared to counter these strenuous conditions. With the brand new heat chambers installed at the VIS, our Australian athletes are able to replicate the conditions in Japan and incorporate the raised heat levels into their everyday training.
Probably the major feature of Tokyo is the high humidity. So that is what can have a really taxing effect on athletes. So to be able to have the athletes training in a hot and humid environment in the weeks and months leading into Tokyo means that those negative effects of training and competing in that environment will be less when they actually need to be at their peak. There's quite a lot of research that's been done. If you compare two athletes competing in the same event, one who has performed heat acclimation or acclimatisation and one who hasn't, the one that's acclimatised is going to be able to basically reach their potential a lot more naturally than the potential for sort of heat exhaustion and heat stroke is really high, and it will be a big factor in Tokyo. So to go in completely unprepared, it would be pretty rare for you to actually be able to pull out your best performance.
The heat chamber isn't the only advanced tool that has been introduced at the VIS, with the new multi-use Swift bike becoming a new addition to the equipment range. Very similar to that of an exercise bike, the Swift bike has the added luxury of allowing our athletes to simultaneously race people live and online across any course around the world. This is thanks to their new weight-to-power ratio system.
It's definitely added another dimension to training, so it's just adds a bit more excitement. You know, you've got the interaction with interactive sort of screen and courses around the world. Could be a famous Tour de France sort of a loop or a world championship course.
These bikes are just a reflection of how far our sport technology has come. Tokyo feels like it's now right in our backyard, and our Victorian athletes are in safe hands to bring home gold next July. Ben China-Flew reporting for Tech Today.
I can't wait to see our Aussies go for gold in Tokyo.
And I can't wait to book my tickets to Tokyo.
Oh wow, I hope they're not too expensive.
Oh, don't remind me.
And in our final story, streaming services and the music industry. A match made in heaven? Maybe. Let's see what the experts have to say.
Streaming services like Spotify and Apple Music have allowed users to easily access, download, and listen to music for the past decade. With over 180 million users, Spotify has become the most popular way for people to discover new artists and listen to their favourite tracks on the go. A monthly subscription fee of just $11.99 is an easy compromise compared to the average price of $13.30 for a CD or $18.95 for a record. However, the question of whether these services have harmed or improved the industry is yet to be uncovered. Over the last 40 years, Ransel from Round Again Records has witnessed many changes in the way music is listened to.
I think the streaming services have affected CD sales more than anything. People that tend to stream, I think, are more casual users. They don't tend to buy a lot of hard product. Whereas if you invest in a CD or a record, you're actually making time to sit down and make the time to listen to that in a situation. So they've certainly affected CDs more than anything, I think.
The benefits of streaming for the average listener are endless. Cost-effective, convenient, portable, and it's completely legal. But it's easy to forget about the effects that this has had on the music industry and the various artists trying to make a living out of making music. Sarah Catania is a young musician trying to break into the industry. She has seen the way streaming apps have affected artists.
The positives are that your music's out there on like a public scale, and you have more avenues where people can come and see your music and see what you're up to. But on the downside, the payment isn't great, and you're making up to like 3 cents per stream, which is great if you get heaps of them, but if not, it's not very, it doesn't really do much for you.
In a time where streaming apps are so popular, it's fascinating to see record shops like Round Again Records still thriving.
To a degree, a lot of streaming services like Tidal, Spotify, push people to find new music. If you play this, you might like this type scenario. So it's been good like that. I think it's certainly dented a part of the industry.
There is hope from those in the industry that streaming apps and physical copies of music can go hand in hand.
But there's going to be one that always kind of exceeds the other. I think streaming services will always get you more publicity, but physical copies will always be more beneficial, as in income and stuff like that.
With more and more artists embracing streaming platforms, we might see a completely digital music industry in the future. Julia Mamoni reporting for Tech Today.
Streaming services have really revived what everyone thought was a dead industry, so I'm really interested to see what that's going to mean for the future.
Yeah, I kind of hope that artists start to get paid a bit more than they are now. But that's about all we have time for today.
I'm Nadia Maroof.
And I'm Aisling O'Mahony. And thank you for joining us on Tech Today.